Don't know how easy it can be to put a screw into a. Is this first since my haircut or no?
No.
So they know.
Hey,
We're live.
What?
throw a shout out to Barb.
Barb?
Yet,
Oh, is Barb
not
what?
yet. She will be.
We're live.
Hi, folks. Welcome. This is Saturday night, May.
Not a Sudbury Saturday night.
Not a Sudbury Saturday night. There's only Canadians would know that song. But this is a special Saturday night because tomorrow is Sunday. And tomorrow is somebody's birthday. So I'm going to teach you a song. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the whole idea tonight is what we're working on. So this person has a birthday tomorrow. And I'm not in fine singing shape, so I'm going to teach you a new birthday song. It's a very special day when your birthday time is here. We sing this special song to you to wish you joy and cheer. And then everybody breaks in and sings, happy birthday to you. So it's Angie's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Ange. Who is Angie? Let me tell you. Ken Anthony works here with us. And Ken has a cousin whose name is Angie. Now, Angie has had an illness since birth, since childhood, that has left her temporarily, because she's still going to get better, temporarily in her room, confined to her bed. But she's very energetic. She's part of our team. So she does all the T-shirts. She wraps the T-shirts, packages them up all nice and neatly, and then puts her little seal on there with a little A. What?
You haven't seen the seal in a while, have you?
Yeah.
It's a picture.
Picture of her and I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw it. Anyway, her birthday is tomorrow, so that's why I sang her that song. This is what we're doing tonight. We're working on her bed desk. So the first time I went out to meet Angie, she was there, and she watches all of our episodes, she watches everything. In fact, Jake can go on and find out how often people log in, and she's number one by far. But she watches it on her, what do they call her, an iPad. And she's having to bend down like that with her neck. And I thought, oh, what she needs is something to hold, something proper. So that's what we're building her. And it has to be light so she can move it around, but there's going to be a little drawer right in here. We're going to work on that tonight. Now, what else do I want to mention to you? Got a few other things I need to take care of. This is also this is also how we raise funds for our Purple Heart Project, just in case you don't know what that is. The Purple Heart Project is something that we started 4 years ago. 4 years ago, our first class was in November of 2016. And we found out by accident, I had a combat wounded Marine named Jesse Pratis contact me by email looking for a saw. And in the process of telling me about getting into hand tool woodworking, he just happened to mention that because of hand tool woodworking, it was the first time he'd found any peace from the physical and the mental pain that he suffers from as a result of combat injuries. So we decided to go down a limb and say, well, maybe we can do something for these guys. So Barb Lippick in Sudbury was a huge factor in that because she wrote me a big check to help us pay for it. We cover their airfare, their hotel, their meals, and we send each vet home with approximately, what used to be $3,000, now it's closer to $3,500 worth of tools. And it went off. It was incredible. It was a defining moment for me that week. I knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my skill. So we have had 13 classes to date. Now, the bad news is we've had to take our May class scheduled for this year. We now do 6 classes a year, and we had to move it to the end of August. If you see me looking beyond you, it's because I'm looking to make sure I say this right, get a check from Jake. We've recently had to take our June class and move it to the first week of October. So we got our fingers crossed that the July class is still going to go. If not, we'll have to figure out how we're going to squeeze that in. But we get this Corona thing behind us so we can get back to our lives. Anyway, this is an expensive venture. Not that I care. We would figure out a way. But if you'd like to participate, and I'll tell you, it is awesome. When you do this, you feel so good about it. People ask me about it all the time. I said, you know what? We come away from a week of having spent with these guys, and we're on top. We're on cloud 9, and you just keep thinking it can't get any better than this. And then we do it another week, a month later, and you think the same thing. It can't get any better than this. Met some of the finest people that I have ever met in my life, and stay in touch with them, most of them. In fact, we have the guy that how long ago we started this? 5-6 weeks ago? We decided to have these combat wounded vets that had been in a previous class come on instead of me telling you about it, and let you hear from them directly, let them tell their story. So every once in a while you meet one that just leaves an indelible mark that you will remember forever. And we met one. His name is Patrick Tackett. We call him Patty Tack. And I don't know if anybody's made us laugh more in any of the classes. There might have been some close ones, but he was the life of the party. Fantastic. So he's going to come on in about an hour, and he's going to give you a first-hand view of what it did for him. I don't think he's going to tell you stories about he and his roommate, but maybe. Maybe if we ask nicely. Anyway, I'll let him tell you the rest. But what you can do tonight, you can contribute in 2 ways. You can contribute financially. You go right down below. There'll be a link how you can do that. And more importantly, you can spread the word. You see, I went to the government and I was told after 3 months of waiting that what we were doing sounded too therapeutic. They couldn't get involved. Now, all I was asking them to do was just make individuals suffering from PTSD and traumatic brain injuries and physical injuries from war aware of our program so that they could apply. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that response either. I've gone to other organizations on people's suggestions, and we've never gotten anywhere from any of them. It just hit a brick wall. So what we have discovered is it's word of mouth. The guys who need this the most tend not to leave their homes. They self-isolate, not because of coronavirus. And as a result, they have very limited contact. And it's only when someone who knows them, cousin, brother, cousin, mother, aunt, uncle, whatever, that the message finally gets to them and they get an opportunity. And it's tough for them to apply even. But that's the only way it works. That's the only way it works effectively. So what I need you to do is to spread the word. Tell everyone. Now, to that end, and I'm sorry to say we were going to unveil our newest T-shirt. We have every T-shirt comes out with a different slogan. It's always right around this theme. This is our first one. Wood is good. The latest one was wood doing good. And our new one, which is supposed to be unveiled tonight, only got as far as the middle of Maine. So we won't have those until Monday. But for next week, we will. So buy a T-shirt, wear it proudly. It's got are we increasing the logo size? Logo is going to get better. There's the logo, Purple Heart Project. And hopefully, and you know what? It's fantastic because I get people emailing me every week about how they wore their T-shirt and somebody come up and asked them, and it resulted in somebody knowing someone who is a combat wounded vet, and hopefully they'll get in touch with us. Now, something's happening because of this. Oh, I got to read the names. Where's my list? It's out in the kitchen. Rex, go out in the kitchen, please, and find my list of the names of all the vets that are coming to this class. Every time we do this, now I need to introduce you to the team, and I apologize. I'm not apologizing. I'm just going to explain. I'll take a few minutes. So Jake and I were the original two. We started this and had no idea what we were doing. Still don't.
The OGs.
Huh? The what?
We were the OGs.
OGs? What's that?
Original gangsters.
Oh. And then in the summer of...
Let it be known that Super Dave was not an OG.
No? When did Luther come along? Summer of...
Spring.
Spring of 2016?
17.
17?
No, 16.
16?
No. We started.
Well, we started. Yeah,
in
he was
November
there.
of 16.
He was there
in 16.
He became part of it in the spring of 2017. That's retired Colonel Luther Sheely.
Careful which R word you're using.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He'd be the one in red. And even though he eats boiled peanuts and grits, we still keep him around.
Yeah.
So Luther joined us. And then in the fall of 2018,
18?
Super Dave Benson. He'd be the guy.
No,
in
he was spring.
dark.
It was spring of 18 that he got.
Okay, fine. Super Dave Benson. Dave Benson was 17 years, half of it in the Navy, half of it in the Army. Dave took some shrapnel to his head, suffered a TBI, which ruined his woodworking career that was blossoming. He couldn't turn on his table saw. The table saw that he had, the frequency was such that the minute he turned it on, it would give him a debilitating migraine.
Which is funny because now he has a saw stop. I
Well,
wonder if there's any correlation when he told his wife that.
probably. So Dave, as a result of coming and being one of our selectees, ended up calling me the next time we were going to teach a class, just out of the blue. His wife made him. Actually, he emailed me. He said, look, if you need any help, my wife says I'm available. Notice that I said that. My wife says I'm available. And he ended up calling me 3 days before we were to start. We had just found out that Luther, who is second in command to his wife, was told that he wasn't going to be able to make it. So we were going to be short. Dave pops in, boom, perfect match. And he has since now become an integral part of our team. So,
And his wife continues to call us and tell us
his
that
wife
he is
continues
available.
to plead with us to find something for him to do up here. And we do oblige as much as we can. Megan just loves having him stay. He's such a gracious host. So anyway, Dave now, so now that we've expanded to do 6 weeks each year, Luther takes care of the May, June, and July class. Super Dave takes care of August, September, and October class. Now, pick me up from there. Now, since then, Megan has come on board, Frick has come on board. Frick volunteers his time to do this, as does Megan. Rex behind Frick has moved home. He helps us. We've got Ken on the line with us as well. Ken will help answer questions. We have Gina, who is our new shipping, what do we call her? Shipping guru?
Director.
So if you get a package and it has this signature that looks like it was done by computer, it wasn't. It was done by her. I'm so envious. I've always wanted nice penmanship. She got it all. And it was her idea for the gift tonight, too, so I'll tell you about that in a minute. And who am I forgetting? Of course, my wife and all of my children have kicked in. And did I forget anybody? I can't forget anybody. Of course, Angie's part of the team. But make a long story short, that's what we do. That's our cause. So we use this broadcast to help us generate revenue. And I believe we're over $50,000 is what we have raised since.
You should probably mention Jack.
Jack? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get into that.
Okay.
Jake, you don't ruin my build-up.
You should know that Lynn has been reading all the comments to Angie, and she loves
Oh, yeah, so here's what I want you to do. You guys, you're throwing stuff at me. So I want everyone, would you please write a little happy birthday note to Angie? You have no idea, and I cannot portray to you how much this means to her. And Lynn, who is her sister, you talk about angels amongst us. Lynn, when her parents died, who were Angie's caregivers, Lynn left her her career to take care of her sister full time, and this is 24-hour-a-day care. And I can't say much more than that, but you know when you're in the presence of greatness. So Lynn reads all of these messages, and I would love it so that there were so many messages, she's going to spend the next 4 days reading happy birthday messages. Don't just say happy birthday. Say something encouraging, something nice, and tell her how great of a job she's done packaging that T-shirt you bought, or about to. So thank you, Frick, for bringing that up. And the last thing I want to say about the whole Purple Heart Project is it's our driving force. This is what we do. We do woodwork, we build tools, whatever. We do that so that we can be more effective with our teaching. Now, I want to read you the student. Frex, did you find it? Oh, we have to have it.
Well,
have our list.
I can get it at the halfway mark.
What?
I can get it when Patrick comes on.
Oh yeah. Okay. So when Patrick's talking, we'll go out and get it. We're gonna read. I want to tell you the names of all the guys that have been accepted. And if you're watching tonight and you'd already be notified if you didn't. Please listen to me closely. I think of Danny Bell. How many times did Danny apply? Second or third?
Three. I think it was
I
three.
think Danny didn't get accepted until his third application. And Danny was here in the fall, and Danny has taken the ball and run with it. Danny is doing more than anyone else that isn't officially a part of our team to help spread the word. In fact, Danny said to me, Rob, I really would like to help you with this. So he lives down in just outside of Nashville, in Clarksville, Tennessee, and there's a large base there. So Super Dave and Jake and I went down in January. And Danny organized that he has a business where he sells wood and tools and the whole bit. Make sure if you're anywhere near there, go see him. Got some great wood. Danny organized a one-day event, actually a day and a half. We got in there Friday night, and we did a meet and greet. And then all day Saturday, we demonstrated dovetails and sharpening and planing and the whole bit. Danny had 32 combat wounded vets in attendance. He had some, what was the name of the barbecue place, do you remember? It was great. Local barbecue joint. I would really love to give them, please, if Danny mentions the name of the barbecue joint so I can give them a shout out. It was fantastic food. They supplied all the food complimentary. And as a result of Danny's efforts, 5 of the guys five of the vets that have been selected to come to the last 3 classes came as a result of that. And that has never happened before. Danny's committed to continuing to do this, and we are committed. We will go down at our expense once each year and go down and do something like that. Danny, fantastic work. Okay.
So, just so everybody knows, just in case there's any issues, we're using all new equipment this evening. A few people have noticed already your new microphone. Daniel actually thought it was a ferret.
Yeah.
But it's...
We could give it a name. We could call it Rhodey.
No, this is Babette. Any MASH fans will kick in.
Someone's... New mics, new mixer, new laptop.
Oh, yeah, so we're completely wireless tonight, which means I'm going to take you around. So, what?
John Beck Mission Barbecue. Is that
Oh, yes. Did Danny just say? Is Danny on?
No, but that was
someone else said it, but
Yeah, Mission Barbecue.
Danny is on.
Mission Barbecue in
Clarksville.
Clarksville. So please, if you like good barbecue, go to Mission Barbecue. Tell them how you found out about it, that Danny Bell told you that it was the best food, and because of their generosity, I just think they deserve our support. So Mission Barbecue in Clarksville, Tennessee. Thanks, Dan. And hello to Stinker and the girls. I know they're watching.
And
And?
Felix the cat.
And Felix the cat. Well, Dave said hi to Felix the cat. We got to tell that story some night. Okay, so the other thing I want you to do here, I'll hurry. So what we started however many weeks ago. When did we start doing the daily YouTubes?
Oh, it was a month and a half ago.
Yeah, it's just when this coronavirus thing kicked in, I said to Jake one day, I said, you know what? People are going to be home bored. Why don't we just start doing one YouTube every day, and just to give them something to look at. So we did one on bandsaws, we did one on table saws, we did several, and then we started doing one on a drawer. See, we're making this drawer in our online workshop, and I try not to duplicate too much. So we'd already made that drawer. Excuse me, this one was waiting to get done. Well, it was waiting and waiting and waiting. I knew I was never going to get it done unless I could attach a purpose to it. So we did. So we over the course of how many episodes?
1 or 2 past.
Yeah,
12.
one or two past a lot. We built that drawer. So we just ended, and as a result, I mean, we have been unbelievably busy. I'll say this: we used to for years we would process 10 to 15 packages a day. We now do average 50 plus a day. So we're here till 2 o'clock in the morning, 6 days a week, building saws, marking gauges, all the stuff.
Well,
and,
there's staff here from the morning until 2 o'clock at night.
Yeah. I don't roll in at 7 in the morning. I don't roll out until 2. Anyway, so what I wanted to tell you is this. If you have enjoyed them, and if you'd like more, then for the next month, you can have this one every Saturday night. We're going to continue to do 2 YouTubes each week, so we're going to release those on Tuesday and Thursday. And by the way, I'd like you to do another something for me. The Colonel has taken it upon himself to improve our YouTube appearance. So if you like what you see, and you should have noticed it if you've been watching any, new everything. So this is an effort between Colonel and Frick. Tell us what you think. They love to hear it, love the feedback, and we respond to it. So anyway, every Tuesday, every Thursday, you're going to get a new YouTube. If you want something for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, listen up. We will give you a free 1-month membership to our online workshop. And on there, currently, there are 2,500 episodes that cover, and I'm going to show you tonight. Every once in a while, I'm going to take you around. I'm going to show you one of the projects that are on there, because it's a combination of furniture for the house and furniture for the shop. The current, by the way, those episodes are anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour long. We do them, and we're going to get better at this. We're going to release it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every once in a while, we get off a day, but that'll come around. So this is what we're currently working on. This is our standing desk. And I just want to show you what we did today. Come here. So this hasn't been attached yet, obviously. So what we worked on today was we had to figure out a way. Remember I showed you these? I'm sure how these completely disappear. Now I haven't finished this yet, but if you look at that drawer, you can hardly even tell it's there. It's hidden in plain sight. But we didn't want to put drawer handles on it to just spoil that. So now what we did, we put a hole in the underside where your finger comes up, and we put a little V in that cute little tapered V that your finger catches and pulls it out just enough so that you can access the drawer. My idea was going to be that this is the type of thing that you're going to lift up the lid, and rather than just open this up and get stuff out of it, I wanted this to be something that you would take out, whatever contents are in there, you could actually have access to them by taking the drawer right out. So that's why.
We'll probably store our money in there.
Yes, we will, because nobody would ever think to look there. Now, we've got to do the same thing with these two drawers, and we got little drawers over here. Watch that right there. We have little drawers right here. You didn't even know that, did you? And that's where we're going to keep pencils and pens. Now, I'm not going to be able to go without that drawer. That one, we haven't done that one yet. So if you'd want to carry on and find out what we're doing, here, if you go right down below, in the description, there's going to be a place where you can sign up. Now,
there's going to be a link.
A link.
It will take you to where you can sign up.
Take you where you can sign up for the online workshop. Now, you have to use your credit card. Apparently, that's standard procedure today. But you go on there, sign up all the information, put your credit card information in. The first month doesn't cost you anything.
When they use the discount code.
Well, oh, yeah, there's a discount code. Make sure you pay attention to that. Use the discount code. At the end of 30 days, if you said, thanks, Rob, don't want any more, then just quit. And no charges, nothing. Otherwise, you'll become a member of our online workshop, and you'll get all of those. Now, when you go on, even for the free month, you get access to everything that we filmed. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of quick examples. The bench was the first thing. This bench, the 180 episodes of building this bench was one of the first projects we did. Behind me is our tool cabinet. That's an ongoing one. I don't know how many episodes that was been. And throughout the night, I'm going to take you around. I'm going to show you some of the stuff because I still have a lot of it here. But I'll give you the opportunity to see that. All right. All that stuff tidied up. Oh, by the way, and last thing is, so you're welcome to donate. We think your support is fantastic. I have one more thing to bring up, and I have to tell you this. Actually, I have two things. One is that we're going to do a draw at the end of the night, and we're going to stick with Gina's suggestion, and that is we're going to draw for 3 $50 gift certificates and 1 $250 gift certificate. And you can spend it on whatever that you want, and whatever your total comes out to, we take off the amount of your gift certificate, and that's all you owe. So, in closing this all up, and before we get to work, I want to tell you about this, because this has been phenomenal. About 2 months ago, I came to realize that we bring these vets in, and for some of them, it's life-altering. I mean, I know nothing about what I'm doing. I'm the first to admit it. All I know is whatever we do works, so we keep doing it. We bring them in, we get them excited about woodwork. In some cases, we're introducing them to woodwork. They'd never done it before. We give them the skills. Skills, look at this. Philip Gustafson, check out that dovetail. Marshall Rommel, check out that dovetail. I don't have any other samples because they take them home. They won't leave them with me, but those two guys did. We send them home with over $3,000 worth of tools. They get home, and I started thinking, well, what are they working on? they're trying to cut dovetails or plain wood on the end of a workmate or something worse, kitchen table. So we came up with this idea. How could we build a bench? Now I want to just take you over here. Follow me, Jake, please. I want to show you the bench that we well, we'll have to deal with this one, even though this is where some of the stuff is I want to show you tonight. So this is the bench. This is called the Cosman Bench. It's made out of one sheet of MDF, 5/8 inch Baltic birch plywood, one sheet of 1 inch thick MDF. And it's a weekend build. It has a fantastic vise on it. It's got a Schoberg vise, which does not rack because you can take all of the racking out of it. This is what our shop is full of. So what we did is we put together the bench brigade. And what we wanted to do is find, because we have 36 students coming this year, we wanted to find 36 people, volunteers, who would build the bench. They pay for the materials. We supply the vise and the bench dogs. They build it, they finish it, they ship it to the vet. And that way all of these guys will go home and they'll actually have to have a bench to work on. Well, the response has been overwhelming. We just registered our 60th volunteer. We've delivered our first bench just a couple of weeks ago to Chris Cosman in South Carolina? North Carolina. We have videotaped it. We're going to videotape every one of them, and we're going to have a special Facebook page where you can go on and watch these guys receiving their bench. It'll be awesome, I promise. So Jack Lane, who's down in Texas, I had been talking with Jack. He's actually coming to the workshop in June. And Jack said, Rob, I would really like to get involved with you in this. So Jack has taken it upon himself. He's now the commander, and he coordinates all of this. And if I get 2 emails a week from him, both of them are saying, Rob, thank you so much for letting me do this. This is absolutely fantastic. The response, there are so many good people out there that want to contribute and give back to these guys. It's absolutely heartwarming. And we've got people. We've got. I wish I could remember his name. But we've got a high school school shop teacher, who this is their project that they're going to do, and the kids are going to build this bench. They're going to produce at least one each year. In fact, I think they're doing more than that. We've got people that volunteered to build 6. It's just the response has been so good. We're reaching back to all of the vets that have been to our classes. If you need a bench, please contact us so that we can give these guys an opportunity. Remember, sometimes you need to be the reason why somebody else gets to feel good about giving something. Anyway, fantastic bench. Absolutely fantastic bench. And we have our new video. That's Luther, you forgot to put a link to that. We have a brand new video out that we released that shows you how to build that bench. It's after building 30 of them, we streamlined the process. So go on, you can either get that through on demand or actual physical DVD. And Chris's last name is?
Shahusky.
Chris Shahusky is working with Jack. He's coordinating through a personal contact all the shipping. So we've got a shipping company that is doing it for a very small fee, picking it up and delivering it right to the vet. So awesome, awesome work.
Do you want to mention again one more time how if they want to get involved, what they should do?
Oh yeah, so listen, we will take volunteers all the time. So if you are interested in being a builder, and the skill requirement for this is not high. I designed this specifically so that brand new woodworkers could, with minimal tools and minimal skill, newly developed, could build this bench in a weekend and have something to start their journey of hand tool woodworking. And it's a fantastic bench. Contact me. Email me, Rob at RobCosman.com, and I will forward that to Jack Lane, and Jack will be in touch with you. I promise within a half an hour of you sending me the email, you're going to hear from Jack. And he'll get you your assignment, and he'll find a vet, so it's tracked all over the country. We are looking for, we actually had one from Australia that recently volunteered. We've got Canadians. Most of our vets that come are Americans. Out of the 88 to date, 4 Canadians, 1 Aussie. That's Ash down in Australia. And 83 Americans. So any of those countries, by all means, please, we'd love to have you part of the team. All right, now I'm going to work? Okay.
Yeah, we're half an hour in.
Oh, well, it's all part of the journey, right?
Really quick.
Is Ahmed on
Danny
tonight?
Bell is on. Kevin
Danny
Burris
Bell?
is on. Charlie Ray.
Oh, yeah, if you're a combat wounded vet that has been to our class, would you please give us a shout, say that, tell us what class you were in so that I can give you a shout out. So Danny Ray, Danny Bell,
Danny Bell. Kevin Burris.
Kevin Burris, Kevin brother. Kevin's got a bench coming to him. In fact, Kevin, the state trooper who's building your bench called me the other day. He's super pumped about doing this. Just, yeah, you know, it's, can't break to a commercial, can we?
Frank, what do we got? What do we got?
I was gonna play the sad harp sound.
Well, it is. It's just really great to see how many I'm looking for something. How many kind-hearted people are out there? That recognize the level of sacrifice that these people have made in our behalf. And it's extremely touching to see how dedicated and willing and excited they get about being able to do something in return. My throat was dry, that's what I was trying to do. I'm running out of moisture. Okay, now work.
Yes.
All right.
Charlie
Oh.
Ray. Joe.
Charlie, Vietnam vet, fantastic individual.
Joe B. Aaron Drag.
Joe B.
That's
Right.
Bright.
Oh, Joe Bright.
Joe Bright. He's put Joe B.
Hey, Joe. Joe helped me with Jesse. I would not. Jesse would not be in the good place he is now if it hadn't been for Joe.
Aaron Drag.
Aaron? What class? What was Aaron's last name? If you're Aaron, would you please tell them? So
I could've
we lost touch
autocorrected.
with you. Aaron used to live in Seattle and then he moved.
Ray is here.
Cool Ray from Louisiana, right? Super guy. Ray's got a bench coming to him, right? Yeah.
And Gary Burnett.
Gary Burnett. And Gary's down there working with Danny. Thanks, Gary. Great. Keep it going. Okay, so let's do the easy part first. I want to plane up these sides over here, and then I want to plane the top. I want to trim up the front, and then I want to go to work on the drawer. Now, I have an issue to deal with back there, and I'm not quite sure, so I'm going to avoid it for right now until I figure out what exactly I'm going to do with it. But we got to get all this stuff trimmed up. So what we need to do is we need to slide this on a piece of MDF that we leave hanging over. So if you've ever built a drawer and you didn't know how do you plane your drawer sides, what you do is you put a piece of plywood or MDF, clamp it on your bench so it overhangs, then you slide the piece on. I'm going to show you. 14.5. It's got to be more than that. Is that for anything, Jake? Is that what we were using on the? That's the piece that we were using on the. Oh, it looks too big. All right, I want it to be relatively tight so it doesn't slide around. So I need a piece 14 and a half. We're gonna buzz this. I'm going to use this more tonight, so I'll leave that there. Probably one of the best things I ever bought for the shop was that. I don't know, are they still available? Or is it a new company? When it comes to cutting MDF, you use that and there's no escaping dust. Jake, that thing is still binding.
I don't know.
Huh?
Your turn.
All right, I'll go at it. Our splitter, riving knife, whatever you want to call it, is not perfectly lined up with the blade. So you push that through and all of a sudden you get all that resistance on the back side. Rex, could you find me a Kleenex or something, please? Piece of paper towel. I usually have it right here, but I can't find it. All right, let's just use this. Now,
You want 2 clamps?
I need one. Yep. Okay. Now we slide that on. You got to be really careful. This is pine. Thank you. Try not to blow my nose too loud with the mic right there. Okay, now we don't want to tear out on the back side, so that means we need to take block plane. We would cut this back anyway and cut a little chamfer. Wait a minute, now which way am I planing? Can you tell? Ow. This way. That was my head. Now I'm going until I catch what I'm wanting to avoid. Actually, is breaking off right here. So there's enough chamfer there now, and I can tell I've got enough when I get to touch the pins. Because I'm not going to, when I plane, I'm not going to go down below the depth of the pin, so I'll still have a bit of chamfer to support it. Now I'm going to use my 5.5. And people ask about our magic wax. This is, Jake went to work with, actually Kevin Burse turned us on to this, the guy that makes it. And we had him, I didn't like the formula because it was too gummy. So we worked with the chap, 4 different formulas, we finally got it just right. And it's, if you're looking for something to make your planing easier, in addition to having a really sharp blade, what that does is it lubricates the sole and reduces the friction so that your effort is spent pushing the blade through the wood instead of pushing the blade of the plane over the wood. Is Jack on tonight? Jack Lane?
I'll check for you.
Now, I'm not sure how this happened, but these dovetails, this piece is prouder here. So in other words, this part is sticking up above the ends of the tails. Over here, they're flush.
Jack is here.
Good. So I'm going to take, what I'm going to do to level it up, even it up, is I'm going to go from here to about here, and then I'll just keep reaching out until I eventually get that down to one level. What did I just want to ask somebody? Shoot, forgot. Oh, Jake.
Shouldn't take it next time.
Bad move. Take this as a lesson. You always want to pull your blade all the way in before you start, so you don't end up having something like that. What? I was using on the shooting board to cut down that
Right.
piece, and we had a lot to remove. Still high. Any comments?
Lots.
Anything I need to address?
Luther's taking care of it. Everyone likes your new haircut, by the way.
Is that what you call it?
A couple people have asked for my services, but I only have one style, so.
Close to the scalp. Yes. I'm aware. How are our numbers?
We have 650 right now.
Okay. When's Patty Tack coming on? Answer?
Whenever. He's standing by whenever. I told him around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock our time.
What time is it?
1:45.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to go for the final finish yet because we've got work to do, and there's always a chance things are going to get dinged up a little. So I'll save that for one of the last things we do. Now I've got a bit of snipe right there, and I've got some roughness from the thickness planer I want to get rid of. Derek on?
Derek who?
What's Derek's last name, Jake?
Golden.
I'm sure he'll say hi if he's in the chat. He hears you.
Okay. Now we cleaned up that one already. We got to clean up this one. How did we do that last time, Jake? Do you remember?
How did we do that?
How did we plane this? Or we did that before we even put it together, didn't we? Well, it was just half. So we got to be able to support that some way. Actually, we got to be able to do it this way. Shoot. You know, I'll think about that in a minute. I want to flush up the front and the back.
You know, we can hear that a lot more now.
Yeah, well, what do you want me to do? Mute me.
Just warn me next time.
Okay, so on this piece, this one is proud of this one. These two are flush, so what I'm going to do is come in here and plane this and just go part way. Actually, what I'm going to do is hold that better than that. Let's remove this. pass right at the end. Now, I want this to be on the same plane as this. So I'd like to be able to reference off of this with my plane as I get that cut started so that I don't, actually, you know what, I'm going to use the 5.5 because then I can reference off of this longer. Come out here and then turn and go. Just walk you through that. I can get one more pass off of here. But I'm already flush here, so as I get here, I'll turn. So I'm essentially making one continuous pass. So now on this one, I'll come this way. Keep your throat clear so you can watch what's going on. Keep it centered enough in the blade so that you can swing around without missing it, meaning you don't want to be over here where that part's not being cut. I'm going to try one more. So I've got a little bit of contact up here. By touching this part, I'm keeping my plane parallel to the, come on, that's not working. Takes a little finagling to get that right. That's better. Okay, so that's flush. Now, how are we going to do the back? That really should sit. We got to flush that up. I need something to sit that down on like that. We already did this one, 14. Oh yeah, this is just backwards. Cute. Okay, so we're flush. Actually, we're a little bit proud. This one, this is proud of this, so I'll start right here. Now, I don't want to cut into that panel. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to switch planes, and I'm going to use my rabbiting block plane. You'll see why. I'm just going to check and see where my blade is. That's good. This way I can see the edge of the blade. If I try to do this, plane this with my block plane, here's the problem. If this ends up being a little bit higher than this, then that part of the plane, either the blade is going to cut this, or if I try to keep it so that the blade is right here, I still have this edge of the plane sitting up here, referencing off of this, tipping it down, and I'm going to miss this piece. By using the rabbiting block, I can come in here, I can see where my blade is cutting. And if I need to be all the way over to my left, so as to avoid referencing off of this, I can still cut the full width of this piece. Oh, you know what? That's that piece we had to repair. Okay, let's go in here and flush this up. Jake, can you, never mind. I'll use a clamp on that. I might have to use the rabbiting block plane on this one as well. Okay, I want to take one swipe on this to clean it up, so I'll switch that over. I really like these clamps, by the way. I bought these, they were on sale one time in a woodcraft store. They're a light, I wouldn't come light duty or medium?
Light.
Light duty, but they're nice because there's nothing twisting. If you use a regular F-clamp, there's always the risk that this pad is going to turn when you're tightening it, and that'll leave a round circular mark. These, and you'll notice I always take the plastic pads off. I leave them on this one because in an application like this, you can put that on there. That cam action is pretty quick, and it'll apply just right amount of pressure, never leaves a mark. Really good clamps. I don't know how expensive they are, but they're worth it. And quick little shout out to Bessie. Bessie Clamps started last year giving us a nice little kit of clamps and a really nice tote bag for each vet in the class. And I know they're going to carry that forward and continue to do it, so big thank you to them. And while I'm on it, Lee Nelson gives us 2 mortise chisels for each vet when we teach. So there's a lot of people getting involved with this. It's great to see. Okay, now, how am I going to do this? Any ideas?
That's not the way you want to plane it, though.
I know, this way. I got it. So if we put this in here like so.
Can that not go?
Huh?
Can't that go in a little further?
No. No, this is hitting on the inside.
Oh, okay.
Now we got to break that. I want to go this way. Who's out there? How's their time, Frick?
We're at
Patrick.
3 minutes to
Numbers?
805.
So time for Patty.
I think so.
Okay, just let me finish this off. I'm being particularly careful on that little skinny piece, so not to break it. That's why I'm going out and then kind of spinning over. All right, let's take another pass. Okay. So that I would say is 95% cleaned up. Maybe as a final little thing, we'll just cut back on that knife edge, just so it's a little easier to handle and not as susceptible to damage. Okay, so we're going to get an introduction from Patty Tack, then we're going to come back and we're going to go to work on laying out the part and laying out for that drawer. So, Patrick Tackett is from what part of the?
I don't know what city 8 Mile is in, but that's right.
What state? Michigan? Michigan. And he's the talker, so I'm not going to steal any time from him. I'm just going to have him go right ahead. Patty Tack.
How are you, Rob?
Just dandy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing good.
Well, okay. So what you're talking to a lot of people that are sympathetic to the plight of our combat wounded vets. So we've had incredible support from them. As I said, we've raised over $50,000 in the last 3 or 4 months in doing this. So what I'd like you to do is tell them how that money's being used in terms of what it's done for you when you participated and some of the things that you saw amongst the other guys that were there. Go ahead, it's all yours.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's a great opportunity for a disabled vet to take part in this program. I know personally for myself, I took a chance. I got into woodworking actually, and I don't want to kind of jump around too much, but I got into woodworking by accident, and my wife had asked me to build a table, and I through the process of doing that for her, it was the first time I ever made anything with wood, and through that process, I started to find some relief with it, and kind of take my mind and my thoughts and take them away from the things that I had been personally dealing with, and as I figured out how this was helping me, I started looking more into it, and I came across Rob on on the YouTube, on his workshops he does, and I just took a huge interest in it, and I started looking at Rob's tools, and from there I seen that the Purple Heart Project, and I thought, man, that's such an incredible thing to be doing, and I said, well, I'll take a chance, I'll apply, and if I'm accepted, that this would be a great opportunity. And when Rob called me, I was so ecstatic. I couldn't believe that I had gotten picked, and I was nervous, and I had all these things going on. But when it started to set in, I was like, all right, this is so cool. I got this great opportunity. I was really nervous. I was nervous to go. After the excitement set in, I was kind of getting nervous. I'm like, well, I actually have to leave my house to go there and partake in this. Rob wasn't going to show up here, and it was an amazing opportunity that I'm glad that I was able to go and take part in. Rob and Jake are such amazing people. They make you feel like you've known them. I think like by the end of the first day, I felt like I knew you guys for years, and you just make you feel like you're part of the family, and which is great because it allows you to relax and kind of enjoy what you're doing and take in it rather than feeling out of your element and stressed and everything else that you deal with. It was just a great opportunity to learn some things and then take that back home to continue to do that kind of treatment on your own.
Little bit of your military background. You come from a long line of military personnel, do you not?
Yeah, I do. Well, my father never served. I mean, I have family from World War I, World War II, Vietnam, the first Gulf, and then I have three brothers that have one of them is still currently serving. The other two are out by now, and three of them served in Iraq, or two of them served in Iraq. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. I did just a little over 6 years in the Army, and I was infantry. I retired out. I was medically retired after I sustained wounds in combat from an IED explosion on my second tour, and was medically retired in 2014 and got out as a sergeant. And I mean, it was soon after that I started having issues with a lot of the mental health problems of it. I had the physical injuries from the blast. I had broken my back. I'd ruptured my eardrums, and I had a traumatic brain injury. I had some nerve damage. But then as time was going on, something else was developing where I was having these panic attacks, and I just started isolating myself, and it was a lot of quiet suffering, and trying to find that out. And I was very fortunate to find that with woodworking, and then I was even more fortunate to find that with the Purple Heart Project.
Did you do any time in Lebanon?
Nope. I did. My first tour was in Iraq, and I was up on the northern border of Iraq and Syria, and I actually went into Syria unofficially there for a second, just to say I was in Syria. But then my last tour was Afghanistan, and I was in the RC South, Kandahar province.
Got a lot of animal lovers. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was given a
Introduce them?
service dog. So
Can you
What's that?
Can you introduce them?
yeah, absolutely. I think my wife closed him in the living room. Ann. One second, Rob. I apologize. I'll grab it real quick. Trooper.
He didn't.
Here, Troop. He's gonna come. And here's Troop.
I think Troop liked your roommate better than you.
Yeah. I was watching it, and I heard you talking about that, whether or not I was going to share a story on that, and I think we'll let old Stinky Pete slide tonight. So, but Trooper here is my service dog, and he's been a great pal, and he's helped me with a lot of stress and anxiety, and he's just a good partner to have.
Awesome. Jake had a comment. You sure you didn't serve any time in Lebanon?
Oh my! I just caught that now.
Little slow on the uptake.
I knew a guy who served in Lebanon, and remarkably, he survived, and and then he survived the Twin Towers and all kinds of other crazy adventures that this modern day Rambo that we didn't know about.
Patty, when are you coming up to? What month are you coming here?
I believe Jake said August, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
I recall saying never.
Well, I think Jake was actually saying if I could just kind of move out there and be a part of the family, and I was going to have some adoption papers drawn up and see if you guys would be willing to sign off on that.
We'll discuss it. Hey, Patty Tack, I can't wait till you're here because when I think of you, the first thing I do is I smile. And I remember, do you remember the day you left? I said we don't meet many people that we will remember forever, but you were one of them. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. You know, Rob, you guys are awesome. I love your family. You guys have become, good friends to me. And for a lot of like me, we don't have too many of them these days. So from the bottom of my heart, God bless you and your family, and thank you very much. And thank you for the work that you guys are doing.
Patrick, thank you for your service, brother.
God bless, Rob.
See you soon.
All righty.
Okay, we found it. A lot of inside jokes there, but if you want, I'm gonna do what sounds like a little commercial, but it really isn't. If you want to have the most memorable experience you'll ever have outside of your own family, that'll last 6 days. Very long 6 days, by the way. We start the workshops at 8 in the morning. We meet for breakfast at 7:30. We're here in the shop by 8, quarter after. And we stay here until 11 o'clock at night. And we're going to do that Monday through Saturday. And meals are all provided right here. So with minimal downtime. And if you're a civilian or if you're a non-wounded vet, we have 6 spots in each class for you. You will come, you will be part of the class. From the woodworking perspective, I'm pretty confident that we can catapult your woodworking skills, hand tool woodworking skills, 3 to 5 years beyond what you would get on your own. But the experience that you will have once you get to meet these people, and I can say these people because every class has been the same, you'll go away. When I think of on the last day of the class, George Barber, who's a longtime friend of mine, George is the manager of the Woodcraft store down in Knoxville, Tennessee, and he said to me through tears, he said, "Rob, I've done a lot of things in my life that I thought were really good and helpful." He said, "I have never experienced anything like this," and that sums it up well. It will be a cherished experience in your life. As evidence of how word's getting out, we had all of our classes sold out months ago. Now, we recently had a couple that had to, one had to cancel because of a surgery, and somebody else couldn't move to the new time when we had to postpone one of the classes, but those spots were taken up the same day. Anyway, we will post the 2021 dates. We can't post the 2021 dates until we make sure we're going to be able to run the 2020 classes. If something happens, then we have to give the 2020 students first crack at the 2021. So that's the reason why. Otherwise, we normally would have it up already. What's the matter?
So May 21 won't become available until the July class happens. And then from there on, it will be a class per class.
Yeah. Okay. So here, I'm happy to read off these names. These are this is a tough process. It is not easy going through and having to tell some people that you didn't get selected. It's the worst part of the whole process, actually. But if you didn't, would you please apply again? It just may be, how many Purple Heart recipients did we have?
37, I think.
37. Now, we call it the Purple Heart Project, but please understand, it has nothing, you don't have to have a Purple Heart in order to be in the class. In fact, most don't. Purple Heart is a recognition of service in the United States for those who have been physically wounded. And I know there's stipulations on what constitutes a Purple Heart medal and what doesn't qualify. PTSD does not qualify, nor do traumatic brain injuries, I don't think. So that doesn't mean that these guys didn't get just as badly wounded. In some cases, some of these PTSD cases are far worse. And I'm not there to judge which is bad and which isn't, but we just happen to call it the Purple Heart Project. So, and that's a U.S. award, and we have vets from all over the world that are welcome to apply and have applied. So if you're not on this list, please apply again. So, Doug Shreve from Hockley, Texas. I told him it should have been Hockey, Texas, but it wasn't.
Are they finding out for the first time right now?
No,
Okay.
they already know. And according to Super Dave, he is a truck drover. he was a truck drover. Dave will explain that one. Michael Thompson from New Brunswick. I can't pronounce that French word.
Rishabuktu.
No, it's Rusagonis. Go ahead, Frick.
Rusaganis or something?
Jim Eakin from Clarksville, Tennessee. That would be compliments of Danny Bell. Dwayne Johnson from Oromocto, New Brunswick. Now, I got to stop right here, and I got to say something else. So we had an applicant whose name is Junior, but is also it goes by Tony, and Tony is a local that had applied and got accepted, and Tony wanted to do something to help. So I neglected to mention because Tony and Danny are neck and neck. So Tony said, "Rob, I want to see if I can't help you with this." So I had been trying to do this through the government and getting nowhere. Tony, in 3 weeks, in Oromocto, New Brunswick, is just about 80 kilometers north of us, has the largest military training base in the Commonwealth. And Tony found a hall that we could have. He got local businesses to supply the food, and we went up there and we had 21 or 22?
I think 22.
22 combat wounded vets. And we got to spend the day teaching them. We're going to be back again as soon as this Corona thing allows us to go. So I tip my hat to Tony because you and Danny are in the same league. So we have a couple coming as a result of what Tony did. So Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne has 9 children?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. No. I know who that is. I talked to Dwayne this week. David Hicks from Waterdown, Ontario. And Dwayne is a combat wounded vet. Dwayne is a Vietnam vet. David. What did I say? Dwayne, sorry. David Hicks from Waterdown, Ontario is a Vietnam vet. Chris Brown from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Jonathan Thomas. But now Jonathan is the one that just had to be moved ahead? I think so. Jonathan Thomas from Fort Mill, South Carolina. Seabrook. I said, "Are you sure about that?" And he says, "Yep." His name is Seabrook. Seabrook Fields from Cumberland City, Tennessee. That would be another Danny. Douglas Wanacott from Troy, Tennessee. I suspect another Danny. He's Special Forces. Dan Orth from Pines, North Carolina. Another SF. Alexander Fort from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Ferris Butler, from Maryland. Blaise Lapointe, who is from that same place in New Brunswick, and he's the one that has 9 children. He's been down. I've visited with him. He's coming, and that's another one as a result of Tony. By the way, Tony is in the first one of the vets in our first 3 classes. These are the last 3 classes. Jesse Todd from Drive Lake City, Florida. Colby Creedle from Clarksville, Tennessee, another Danny. Brandon Veatch from Indiana, Salisbury. Jordan Bauer. Jordan is the one who's been deployed, or he's SF current, and his unit is being deployed, so he's going to come. He's going to end up coming next week, which means we had to call up our alternate. I'll introduce that
next year. John
Beck from Clarksville, Tennessee. Danny going strong. Carlos Garcia. Carlos, had a good chat with you the other day, brother. From Poteet, Texas. Doug Shreve. Wait a minute, I already read this, didn't I? Yeah. David Hicks is the one that got moved up as a result. So we always have one alternate in case somebody is unable to attend, and that's already happened. So, gentlemen, I tip my hat to you. Look forward to seeing you. Hopefully everything will work out just fine. Just consider that that's the way it's going to go. And Let's go back to work. Any questions? Any more vets speak up and say hello? Yes, no?
Paul's here.
Paul from, Paul from down in Australia. Howdy, Paul.
Down under.
We just broke 1,000 viewers.
Did we really, Frick?
That is shattering the old record. So thank you, everybody. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.
Oh, yeah. So let me take, I'll get back to this. Just real quick.
We're never going to get that done.
Yeah, we are. Well, we want to keep
Why
on
don't
going.
why don't you get back to that and then take a break?
Got to do this. Got to do this first. So here's what we wanted to do tonight. We wanted to get at least 100 new members in our online workshop. 100 people that want to take advantage of that free month. Now, I'm just going to take over here real quick. I'm going to show you 2 more projects that we did. All of this is recorded. You can go through and build it. Everything is there. This was one of my favorite pieces. They called this the bloke box, named by Tony Martin down in Australia. This is made out of Clara walnut, some beautiful burl. See those nice little tiny dovetails? We're going to talk about that tonight. And you see how the veneer on the front comes up across and across the front and up across the top. Same thing on the bottom. And if you notice, it's the exact same piece. Beautiful piece of work, if I don't mind saying. And this jewelry box that I made for my wife out of bird's eye maple and walnut. So there's a little something different in every drawer. That one's for rings. I won't bother showing you the rest. But they're all dovetailed, and you notice that the drawer fronts are all the same. And then these side pieces, and this is where your necklaces hang, so you can take it out like that, much easier to access them. And you put it back in there. If you should build small jewelry boxes, because you're going to be the one that's paying to fill them. And if you notice on the back side of this, Jake, come over here, please. This has a wooden hinge. See? Some nice little dovetails up in there. All of that's recorded. How long did it take us to do that? Was this a long one?
Just shy of a decade or something like that.
And while I'm over here, and we had one, how long was that session we did on the wood hinge box? That went forever. It was long. We did several wood hinge boxes. So you see the wood hinge? That's all in there. All of that's in there. We film the whole thing. We don't shut the camera down when mistakes are made. We just teach you how to fix them. Now, back to work, but remember, we're doing this to raise money to support our Purple Heart project so we can bring these guys in. None of that money is spent on anything but direct costs related to bringing in the vets, their meals, their airfare, their hotels, and the toolkit that we send them home with. In addition to paying for the vices for the new bench brigade. So we need a stack of phones and the people with phones on the background.
Yeah. Like the old telethons.
Yeah, the telethon. All right, so I want to put a drawer in this. It's going to be side hung, and we're going to make it. I don't want it to come right down to the bottom because I don't. I think if we went 2 inches, that would be ideal. So we need to get some stock prepared. So we'll cut it to fit. So the front is going to be 14 3/4. Front will be 14 3/4 by 2 inches. And we'll probably go 5/8 of an inch. The back for right now is going to be identical, 14 3/4 by 2. But it'll only be, I'll probably only make that 3/8. And then the sides, to which there will be 2 of them, the sides are going to be, that's 8 1/2. They're going to be half blinds. Let's make them 8 1/2, and we'll cut them down to size afterwards. So 8 1/2, they'll be 2 inches as well. And on something like that we want to keep nice and light, I would think 1/4 of an inch, Jake, or do you think that's too much? That's too. Oh no, it has to be thicker than that because we're going to cut into it. I think we're going to have to make those sides. I think we're going to have to make those. We can get away with 5/16. 5/16. Now, I was thinking about this. Is okay, how are we going to do this so that we can cut that groove and then end it? But we can do it. It won't be as hard as I thought it was going to be. But I've never done this before. I've never done a side hung drawer. I've always had my drawers fit perfectly into a box. So I'm trying to think, is there going to be anything in particular that we need to change with the sequence? But I don't think there is. So let's just go ahead and process some lumber. Now, I've got some nice northern white pine. I hate wasting big thick stuff like that, but if you try to split this and get two pieces, you deal with unstable wood. You're better off to just bite the bullet and waste a whole bunch of it. So if I cut this piece to let's see if we can lay this out of this one piece.
Are you wanting the thickness planer then?
Huh?
Do you want the thickness planer?
Why not?
I'm asking you.
Why, have you got it disabled?
No, I'm just looking at the
Oh, well, I
surroundings.
can get in there. It'll just be a short piece anyway. Now, do I want this piece or do I want that piece? I like the fact that this is a little straighter grain, so I'm going to go with this piece. That's already been cut, so I don't have to worry about any end checks. If we're going to go, the longest piece is going to be 14 3/4. So here's where you would say, okay, am I better off to take a long strip that I can cut several pieces out of and preserve all of that, or would I rather cut a piece this way and preserve a wider piece that I think is more valuable? And that's the way I'm looking at it. So if I come over here to 14 3/4, I'm going to go 15 for the sake of, I don't have my square. My daughter Kenzie and my wife Kim are building Kenzie's apartment upstairs, so for some strange reason my tools have all migrated up there. I know the time will come that I'll get them back. So if we come down 2 inches on the front, and then 2 inches for the back, and then we need 2 and 2 for the sides, so that'll consume that whole piece. So we'll cross cut this. I haven't got my big joiner set up, so I've only got my 8-inch. So what I'll do,
Isn't it?
what?
That's set.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's covered in junk. I didn't realize we did, but it's covered in stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'll rip this in half, and then we can use the 8-inch joiner. So we'll make a cut here. We'll rip this down the middle, face joint the two pieces, and send them through a thickness planer. So I'm going to turn my dust collector on.
Right, open it. Shut the other one.
Now I've got a straight edge on this, so you always want to have a straight edge against your fence so that it doesn't get in there and twist on you and bind.
You want to get rid of that splitter right now?
10. No, leave it on.
Lock that.
Leave it on. How
Here,
wide
lock
are our
that.
pieces? They're 2 inches, aren't they?
Lock that.
Funny, it didn't no resistance there at all. Now, if you're not familiar with processing of lumber, my next move is I need to have a reference face, and that's what occurs with the jointer. The jointer will make it flat and straight. So I want to have, if there's a cup side, I want the cup side down. If it bows this way, I want to have the cup side down there as well. So when I wiggle it like that, I can tell it's touching out here and out here. If I on this one where it rocks front to back, very difficult to run it through with any degree of accuracy. So that'll be the side that goes down. I'll do that one first. Read the grain, and it looks like it's going in the right direction. Make sure there's no debris underneath. reference face, I can put that against the fence and know that that edge is not only straight, but it's square to that face. By the way, the same is true when you're joining the edge. It's always easier if you join with the cup side down. That way you have two resting points. If you have the convex side down, your board is rocking like this. It's going to be very difficult to get a nice straight edge. All right, let's run this through the thickness planer. Is that clear? How thick was the front? Going to be 5/8, right? Now flip these over. So that one will be my front. And I'll get my front and my back out of that. This is going to be my side. Now, you always end up getting snipe on your board. So what I'm going to do, now that I've got that down fairly thin, I'm going to run it over the joiner again. Can I get away? Can I get by with that? I think so. They were going to be long. So I'm going to leave that right there. Let me grab my square. We'll just so we can complete one piece. We're going to go and deal with the drawer fronts first.
We're over 1,200 now.
Really?
Luther must be doing something right.
Okay, 2 inches. This is going to be a little bit different because I got to stop and think about this. Normally, I would be fitting into an existing opening. We don't have a typical opening. There is no restriction on the height, so we can just set this for 2 inches. I'm going to go a little strong of 2 inches because I want to be able to. I want to be able to plane and get rid of the saw mark. Now, everybody always freaks out. I find 2 inches as I'm fine with that. You'll notice whenever I run a board through the table saw, I always keep some fingers up in here. And it just kind of keeps me aware of where my hand is, and I'm never going to be pulling my hand across like that because I've got 2 fingers dragging along there. That's my little habit. All right, let's shut the air off and process these, and then we'll come back and work on the drawer sides. Now, this part is going to be done the same as in traditional drawer construction. We're going to go in and we're going to make the drawer side fit that opening.
The drawer front.
What did I say? I meant to say drawer back.
Okay.
I said drawer
You said
side,
drawer
didn't
side.
I? Yeah. I'm gonna make the drawer, I'm gonna fit the drawer back to the opening. Once I get that done, I'm gonna use it as a template for the drawer front. First thing I wanna do is I wanna prep this stuff so I have it in pristine condition. This gives me an opportunity to get rid of anything like snipe off of the... See this? This is my new project. A small dovetail saw for tiny dovetails. Hopefully I'll get to tell you more about that before the night's out. And it's going to be called the Len Robichaud saw. I never thought about that, Robichaud saw.
Jake is here, and so is Pete.
Jake Tarola?
Yes.
Howdy, Jake. And who else did you say?
Pete.
Pete? Pete from Mississippi? Mississippi Pete. Oh, Pete. Could we call Pete a character, Jake?
Might be a fair assessment.
A lively one. Okay, I can get a 2-inch pass with this plane because the blade is 2 3/8. So to do that, I'm keeping my finger right underneath here, like that, so that I'm keeping the board in the middle of the blade. That way I don't have to make overlapping passes. Now I got a bit of snipe right there. That's why you're not getting a continuous shaving. One more pass. By the way, when I'm watching this, I'm always looking at the shaving because, like reading tea leaves, the shaving tells you everything you need to know about what's going on the surface. So as I unravel that, it should be full width, full length, and uniform thickness. So as long as you watch your shaving, you don't have to stop and check your board. You know what's happening. So this is the back. I'm going to flip this over and I'll do this side as well. Always try to keep one continuous pass so that as not to interrupt or take away from the uniform thickness of the piece front to back. Meaning if you allow your plane to skip in the front, all of a sudden this is going to be thicker than it is down there. So got to be consistent. You'll notice that when I'm shaving, come around here please. What I want you to pay attention to is my upper body when I'm doing this. There's no arm movement. This is all about a leg movement more than anything else, and that allows me to be very accurate with my planing. If you're trying to do this, now sometimes on a long piece you have to include your arms, but on something like manageable like this, you're just moving forward, and by doing that, and I'm riding along the side of my bench, I can stay extremely accurate, more so than you would be otherwise. Now, I'm going to do this one just for the sake of doing it since we're already set up. Make sure that you keep that down tight by a little tap on your bench dogs. And if it starts to get a little bit hard to push, get some magic wax. Shameless commercial. Little rub, a little dab will do ya. You old enough to remember that? Full length shaving. We'll flip it over and do the same thing. Frick, do you remember that commercial?
Sounds familiar. I don't know what it's from though.
Brill cream. That must go back to it would be way before you. I think that might be early 70s. You were born in 75, weren't you?
85, thanks.
Yeah. Kind of sounded the same. All right, let's set this one aside. Now I got to get serious here. This requires some, you got to pay attention. You want to work to a high level of precision so that this comes out perfect. And I'll still make mistakes. Now I'm using my shooting board, and since we have, I assume, new people on shooting board is the most shooting board is probably the one apparatus, aside from a plane, that will do more to elevate your work than anything else. It's designed to square your stock, both squaring it this way and squaring it this way. If you had to do this all by hand, then your results would be dependent upon your skill level. You can get perfect results and still be a relative newbie at this because of a shooting board. So what I just did, now I used it in an unconventional way. Shooting boards are typically designed for doing this, not this. You don't have enough surface area here to make this long edge square to that short end using the shooting board. I'm not using it for that purpose. What I'm trying to do right now is I want to both square this edge to this face and straighten this. The shooting board is acting as a bench stop for me. It's also keeping the plane and the workpiece square this way, but I have to push, and you'll notice that my hand is directly across from the blade. I have to push the board into the sole of the plane, to use the sole of the plane to keep that edge nice and straight. Okay? Now at that point, I'm going to do the end. And actually, no, I'm not. Well, yeah, I will. I'll do one end. I'll tell you why in a moment. I'm going to pull the board out from the edge, out from the fence, and I'm going to cut a little chamfer. That's spelled C-H-A-M-F-E-R, not camphor. It's a chamfer. Could possibly be the most often mispronounced word in hand tool woodworking. Would you agree, Jake?
There's another.
Scene?
No, we were talking about woodworking.
Now, I'm misadjusting this because it's a little bit off. What are you thinking? Oh, tendon. A mortise and tendon. Tenon. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and identify this right now. This is going to be my top right. So that's going to go in the back. This is going to be on the top and on my right side. So what I want to do, if you want to come over here, I'm just going to put this up against the underside. Again, this is totally backwards of how we would normally do it. We always reference off of the bottom, but there is no bottom. And the top is not straight either, so that's going to give us a bit of grief. Can't do anything about that. I'm just going to eyeball that real quick and see. Yeah, it does sag a little bit in the middle. Can't really, well, we could possibly change that because it's a very thin, narrow edge.
Could you give support to it?
What do you mean?
The top piece is sagging, right?
No, it isn't. It's just no, it's not sagging because of that. It's just for whatever reason, it's not perfectly straight. I'm just trying to think how I can go in there and straighten it. Now, let me try this. I'm going to go tight against this side and over here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm referencing the end of this board, the one that I just planed, which should be nice and square, against this. And I'm looking over here to see what's going on. So if it was down like that, then I knew I had to fix this. If it was sticking up in the air, I'd have to fix it. So if I hold that down below, this is one of those rare situations where I'm actually going to be able to make the top fit the top of the, I'm going to make the underside of this. This is a knife edge, so it has nothing to do with reference. In fact, the only thing it's going to do is just close against, have the drawer close against it. So really, I got to pay just attention to the outsides. So I'm going to hold that right there, and I'm pushing it tight against it so that it's.
We passed 1,300.
Seriously?
I think this is a good time to test out my new applause button.
Did it work?
I think so. Oh, never mind. We're under 1,200 now, so
So much for your applause button. Don't do that again. We'll be alone.
I just did the sad trumpet button.
You did the what?
I pressed the sad trumpet button.
Oh. Frick has a new toy.
Yep, getting our money's worth here.
Okay, I'm gonna swap out this blade. Jake sharpened me a bunch of blades so that we wouldn't have to stop and sharpen. But what you need to know is we just shot a brand new YouTube, and the purpose was on my sharpening as of 2020. I've got lots of videos out there where I sharpen, but I have evolved and changed as I found better gear, came up with a little better methods. So this is the latest. We shot it yesterday. We did a little amend today, and it should go up Tuesday. So if you're looking for, and by the way, if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, would you stop right now and hit that subscribe button?
It's right in the corner of the video. You don't even have to...
Yeah, just hit the button, just for the sake of it. And then if you really like what we're doing, then hit the bell. Where's the bell, Frick?
I'm not sure if it shows up in the live or not, but it's usually next to the subscribe button.
Okay. Now, I've, hit that one too. And then like it and share it and do all the rest of that stuff.
And comment.
And comment, yes, comment. Well, I already asked you. Remember, I want you to say hi to Angie, happy birthday, write her a little note of encouragement. I need you to tell us what you think of Luther and Frick's new job on sprucing up the website, the YouTube channel.
Luther's been unveiling his banners all night.
Oh.
So he's getting quite a bit of feedback. So
Is he? Good or bad?
both.
Depends
Oh,
on the
really?
banner.
Okay, so when I'm looking at this right now, when I press this tight against this side, it appears that it's pulling this side up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plane this. I'm going to put a shim. Shoot, where Jake? I had that. Oh, it's out there.
Your shim.
Yeah, it's out in the other room. I was using it earlier. I'm going to use. Is that going to be too much? I'm afraid it is. I'll put this in. I'm going to put that in to prop this up just a little bit. Now,
Did you just put that blade in?
yeah,
Should you check the projection?
huh? Looks good. I'll do one more pass though. Didn't quite go to the end. Okay, now try this. Remember, top right. So when I push that, gotta kind of feel where it stops, right there. You know what? That's not bad. Maybe just a little bit too much. So I want to take a little off of that. I need to have something a little bit thinner. Shoot, I hate to have to leave.
Did you say it was too much?
This is a little bit too thick. Just give me,
What about it?
Frick, tell him something while I go get my, shims.
Frick, display
right
all
here.
of the capabilities.
Well, someone asked for a rim shot, so we're gonna play that.
Oh, what?
A rim shot's like the ba-bumps.
What's
what
that?
else? What else we got? We got when Rob tells a joke, we can play this one.
I don't need canned laughter.
No, it's crickets.
Crickets laughing?
Yeah. If it's really bad, then we can actually put on the fake laughter.
So here's a new use for a set of feeler gauges. Sometimes you need to alter your shooting board to fit something. So this is too thick. All right, this one is. So I'm going to go in, going to prop that up. Oops, hold on a second. Top right. Oh yeah, so we're taking off the ends. So I got to come in here and cut my little chamfer. Now you know why I made sure I left that piece a little bit long. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's perfect. So you see that? When I squeeze it, it's nice and tight. Look at the gap here, look at the gap over there. Ignore the middle, that's got to be fixed. Get the gap on both sides? Okay. So now what I can do, I'm going to take this, which is going to be easier. No, this is, I have to do it this way. Take this, put my piece in. Now I have a plain blade that I have never put a
Talking
back.
about that one?
Is it over there? I've never put a back bevel on it for this very reason. This is what we use it for.
Now, you could.
What?
It's not much wider than the 1-inch chisel, right?
Yeah, you could use 1-inch chisel. Good point.
Well, a 1-inch IBC chisel.
Right. So set that in there like that. Now you don't want it in too far because you want to get as accurate representation as possible. So I've got it just catching the edge. Make sure it finds its sweet spot, meaning you don't want to pull it one side or the other. So I'm going to push right in the middle, and then I'm going to hold it tight against this. Don't bear down on this. I'm going to, oh shoot, Jake.
What?
Well, the thing's in the way. The guide.
That's all right.
So look what I'm doing. Go up underneath. I'm laying it tight, and I'm just dragging the corner to mark that board.
Because you're.
Now, I'd like to be able to get to the top. Cammy, oh, never mind. I'll do it.
Why? You fit it.
Huh?
You're fitting it, right? Like you're not
Right.
cutting.
No, I'll show you what I'm doing. Just a second. So I'm going to take. This is the nice thing about the IBC. I'm going to take the handle off, which, by the way, that handle is which one is that?
King.
That Kingwood? That was made by Ahmed down in Southern California. You look at all the beautiful handles he sent me. If he ever gets his button gear, we're going to start selling them so you guys can get access to them. What's he doing anyway? Out shooting targets? Mm-hmm. Okay, squeeze that tight. Now, I did that so I could go in that little space right up in there. At least give me somewhat of a mark. Okay. Now, I'm going to put my headgear on so I can see. I have no idea if this is square. I don't care. I want it to fit the opening. So I'm not using the square for any reason other than just because. So I'm going to put this blade back in there. Put it just like that. And that should line up, but you know what? It doesn't. I'm going to trust the bottom one. So now what I'm going to do is just shoot. That moved. Because it fell into the... Okay, there's my cut. All right, now what I need to do is cut that. I'm finding myself rushing because there's an audience that I don't want to be bored. Well, I have to say too bad to that. If you're watching this, you're watching it because you want to see how I do this, not because you want to simply be entertained. So I have to slow down and do this, right? So what I'm going to do right now, and I could run over the table saw, go over the chop saw, but I love the control I get when I use this, shameless commercial, Rob Cosman crosscut saw. Why? Because it cuts so smooth, and I just love it. I'm going to go in there.
Better work.
Huh?
Don't mess this up after that plug.
I'm cutting close.
So take just a second.
What?
Is that the kind of application where they should use the joinery crosscut or the bench?
Either or. It could have been, you could use the bench crosscut. I haven't, I've got to make myself a new one because we sold mine. I'll get another one. Now, I'm going to come in here. Again, I've got a plane across the end of this board. I don't want those fibers breaking out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this knife blade, swing it around like that. So now I can see that mark from this side. So I'm going to put the board on an angle, pulling it out from the fence over here. I'm going to cut a chamfer on the opposite side until I get this nice and sharp, Jake. Okay, I'm right there.
Well,
Now,
thank you.
I'll put this in and I'll start planing. And I'll adjust accordingly. Now it looks like I need to pull the board out from the fence. I'm going to put that in there just so I can pivot with it. I want the cut to be parallel to that mark right now, so I can eventually get it so that it's right on the mark. So in other words, what I'm doing is at this stage, I'm close enough that I can make my adjustments where the board needs to be in relation to the plane, so that as I continue to plane, I'll eventually get it so that the plane stroke with the board in its current position will end up with a end of the board that parallel to the mark that I made. Hopefully that makes sense. And it looks pretty good. If you could see really close, when you make a mark with a knife across there, what's left as you start to plane are little wee short fibers that run this way. You've got your knife that has severed a line across here. As you plane closer and closer to it, those short little fibers that have been severed at the knife line crumble and fall away. So you end up with a little bit of a gap right there at the top of the board. And it shows. And as you continue to plane, that gap eventually disappears. Now I think I need to have a little more than that. That was 28 thou. And I don't want to sound like I'm a nut when it comes to this, but I'm going to say we need 30. But I do really love trying to be as precise as possible. I think it shows well. Okay, if you could see what I see, you just watch that little gap disappear. Now, can you get in there really tight? Really tight? Can you see that there's still just a little bit of a gap between the end of the board right at the top surface and the plane? Can you see it? If you can, it'll disappear on this one. Now there's no gap there. See that? And you guys that are over 45, you're going to have to get a pair of these things that I'm wearing in order to be able to see that type of stuff. But it's when you can see it, then you can do it. We never did talk tonight about applying for the draw, did we?
I've been posting it in the chat.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. So all you got to do is go to draw.robcosman.com and apply. We've had quite a few so far. You could win up to $250 towards the Rob Cosman website.
Okay. So there we have that perfectly fit in the opening. Okay? Now, that's gonna play very well, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to match.
Do we have time for this, Fred?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, we do. What are we going to make for the top, Jake? You know what? We got a little bit of pink. Come over here, please. We got a little bit of pink. Just let me show you. I didn't do this on purpose, but since we have it, we got a little bit of pink, fleshy color on the pine, and we got some white sap right here. And this happens to have the same thing. So do we want to make it like that? Do we want to make it like that?
I'd say like that.
Do we want to make it like that? Or do we want to make it like that?
I think that might be best.
That one? I think that one. Can't tell you why, I just do. So I'm going to make this top right, okay? So this is on the outside. That is on the outside, meaning outside the drawer. So that's how those two pieces relate to one another. So what we want to do right now, and this will be our last step for tonight, I need to shoot the bottom. Right? That becomes our reference. Then I'm going to put, remember, that's how they are in the drawer. So I'm going to take it right over here, put it on front, set that down. Now I'm flushing up the bottom, ignoring the top. I'm flushing up the bottoms. I'm using my thumbs. You can feel within a thousandth of an inch with your thumbs. Okay, now once I've got that, I'm going to take my blade and I'm using my back as a template. Keep it tight to the end of the board and drag that through, and then when I get here, I'm going to go the other way. Now the reason I changed, if you go off like that, sometimes it'll break a piece of fiber. So instead, I flip and go this way and come in. Same thing down here. Lay it tight against the end. Drag it in. Oops. That didn't. And then do the same thing here. Now, what we can do is go in there, cut close to the line on both sides, plane down to that line, and then our front and our back will fit perfectly. What we'll do next in 2 weeks, after we fit the drawer sides, the way we put this together, when it's all dovetailed and glued up, the drawer sides will be proud of the ends of the drawer front and the ends of the drawer back. Then as you start to plane the drawer sides, you plane them down until you just touch the pins here and the pins there, and that should be the exact fit for our opening. That's the way we do it. Okay, how many folks do we have on tonight?
We're at 1377
So was that our top?
by far.
Great, nice to have you. Appreciate so many people finding out about our Purple Heart Project. Nothing makes me happier. Please do something with that. Buy a t-shirt. Buy a t-shirt. Help us with our cause. Now we don't. That's not a. We run a business. We have to run a business in order to have the money to do this. The t-shirts we use as a means of advertising what we're doing, meaning our Purple Heart Project. When we sell dovetail, any of our saws that we sell, we have 5 different saws, soon to be 6. Never got around to it, but I will next time. 7.
We're going to do a small joinery crosscut, too.
We are?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so says Jake. So when we sell any of our saws, 10% of that goes to supporting the Purple Heart. We get donations from private individuals, plus our own tool sales, and that's where the money comes to run this program. And be a part of it if you want. We'd love to have you. Don't forget to register for the draw. Oh, final little tour. So I said we want to try to pick up 100 new members for our online workshop tonight. It's in the description below how you can sign up and how you can get a free month. But I want to show you a few more of the projects. This one we did in the hand tool workshop. So made entirely with hand tools, no power. This was my tool cabinet. This is my mobile tool cabinet. But the guys in the class said, Rob, I have to share the garage with my wife's car. So at the end of the day, all my stuff has to go away. So all of this, I'm going to show you how it happens actually. All of this folds all up and goes away. All of my tools are neatly in here. So we did this entire build in our online workshop. I showed you how to make a drawer bottom plane. This plane cuts that little groove to house the drawer bottom. We'll use it when we're making our drawer. That tucks right in here. All of my drilling materials and screwdrivers over here. This is my saw till that I still haven't replaced my dovetail saw. It comes out like that, so I have access to all my saws, and I still get to use the space above it. Marking gauges, planes that I carry with me. In here are all the screws that we use. By the way, if you haven't found out about our new screws that we carry, they're the best thing since screws were invented, I think. There's all my dovetailing tools. These are all my sharpening gear. And Ahmed made this for me, and we haven't said what we're going to put in there yet, but this door comes off, and in there are all the pieces to make a saw bench. It's pretty cool the way it works. This door comes off, and this is my whiteboard. In there is my bench hook and my shooting board. At the end of the day, when you're done, and you'll notice that there are 3 dowels that hold this on. So you take it apart like that. The dowels are on an angle, and this piece is a little shorter than this one, so it hangs. And gravity, because of the angle, keeps it nice and tight so it does not come apart. Put my mallet back in there. Put that dowel in. So this piece, we may go a little longer. This piece fits in the back. The outside is made out of Baltic birch plywood. First time I'd ever cut dovetails in plywood. And the whole idea was that the inside was just screwed in place. I knew that in transporting, this is going to get beat up, and I may have to replace it someday. First time we moved it, somebody hit it with a forklift. But I could take all of this out and make the outside casing new again, and I've got all of this stuff that I can reuse. Most of it's made out of northern white pine. I wanted it to be as light as possible, but it also had to be strong. I have my level up in here that sits in a little groove, so when you put it in, and then it drops down in place. All my chisels are held in place with magnets. I've got my my crosscut saw. I have my scrub plane. Tucked underneath here is my small router plane. I have my 6-inch combination, my 12-inch combination square, my skew block plane. I carry my number 7, my 5.5, my low angle jack, and my 1/2-inch shoulder. Over here is my 6-inch combination plane.
Square.
Sorry. And over here is my flush trim saw. And then this piece fits in here. And then this door, by the way, the hinges on the doors are those really nice quick release bloom hinges. I've got that little piece of plywood in there so that it doesn't bang against it, and it locks, but I lost the key the first time we used it and have never found one since, so now it's a place to get my finger in there. That is on our workshop. This is called a bench sleeve. This is made entirely with hand tools in the hand tool workshop, and this is what you use when you're planing a wide board at your bench. You can simply adjust this to be there to support the board. We built this bench in our hand tool workshop. I already showed you that. This was the very first project we did. All of the wood was processed by hand. It's a little candle box with half-blind dovetails and a sliding lid. And we talked about that. That's one of, I have no idea how many projects were on there. There was a bunch. Actually, if you look up on here, there's a hall table we did. There's a bookcase that we built. The bookcase was quite complicated. It had through wedge tenons. It had mitered edge dovetails. It had shiplap on the back, all made entirely with hand tools. We had 2 different workshops. One was hand tool only. The other was a combination of hand tools and power tools. Over here, and we did upper cabinets, showed you how to build upper cabinets with 4 different styles of doors. We did base cabinets with dovetails. That was more shop furniture, but certainly could be used in a kitchen. And we'll tell you more about it as we progress.
Before we go, there was one question that from the chat that Luther wanted to ask, and that was why you're not using Wood River blades in your planes and only see IBC blades.
They weren't paying close enough attention.
Fair question.
You used the Wood River until you changed it out.
Yeah, I use both. But So I went to work with IBC way back in 2008 to develop a extra thick blade that you could put into an old Stanley plane. Now normally on an old plane you can only put a standard blade, and any of the upgradable blades like the Hawk blades were only 90 thousandths thick. Standard blade with a Stanley plane was 70 to 85 thou. And the reason you couldn't put a thicker blade is because the yoke, that's that little part that pushes the blade forward or pulls it back, is short enough. And it makes contact with a little rectangular slot in the chip breaker. So here's how it works. You spin the adjuster knob, the yoke reaches up there, pushes that out for a thick shaving, or gets retracted for a thin shaving. So if you put too thick of a blade in that old Stanley plane, the yoke won't make it to that little slot and you don't have any adjustment. Well, simple idea. I said, well, what if we just took a chip breaker and put a little tab on the underside? I think I have an example here. I know I do, just a matter of finding it. One of those, Jake?
Mm-mm.
Is it the one that's in the plane?
No.
No, it's right here. Pardon the rust. So here you go. These two little tabs that are attached, it belongs to Luther. These two little tabs that are attached to the chip breaker reach down into your blade, into your big thick blade, and now you can put a blade that's twice as thick as the standard, 140 thou, and yet your yoke will make it to the tab so you get your full range of motion. So I tell you that because in the process of developing it, IBC would send me blades to check all the time. So I have all kinds of IBC blades. I got a drawer full. So I have all kinds of IBC blades. I have all kinds of Wood River blades. Wood River makes good blades. IBC make the best. You're going to pay for it though. Wood River makes a good serviceable blade. If you want to upgrade, you don't mind spending the money, get an IBC. They're a heavier blade by 15 thou, and they are better steel. I say that, but we never have a problem with, occasionally, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I am. Occasionally, we have a problem with the the Wood River blade holding an edge. Not very often. And hey, they will replace it if there's an issue. We've never had that problem with an IBC blade. So, I use both. Any other questions?
Let's do the draw.
All right, remember, we're here every Saturday night for your entertainment pleasure. Actually, we're taking place of date night until this coronavirus is over, and then we might continue to do this because this is fun.
And I lost all my DJing gigs this summer, so I got nothing else to do either.
Plus, you volunteered this anyway, so you really enjoy it.
True.
I'll tell them a little bit
that
about my
screen a
saw,
bit,
too. I'm sure that somebody wants to know about my new dovetail saw.
Turn the screen a bit.
This one? All right, can you zoom in? All right, so we're doing three $50 and one $250,
Yeah.
is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with the first $50. We had over 500 entrants tonight, so that's a new record
Wow.
as well.
How did we do before? How did we do for Purple Heart donations?
2,200.
We didn't cover the guys. It cost $3,500 for one vet.
Sorry, I don't have my mic on. The donations were at 2,200 tonight.
So we didn't quite cover one vet. We need to up that. Okay, go ahead, Frick.
All right, so Ethan Fowler from Missouri won the first $50. Next
Ethan,
winner,
congratulations.
next winner is Harley Cassell from Michigan.
Harley, congratulations.
Next one is Preston Roberts. Doesn't say where, but from the United States.
Preston, actually, I just had an order from him just recently. Preston, congratulations.
And
I don't see the name Preston very often. That's why I remembered.
grand prize winner, $250. We don't sell gift certificates, right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Can we do it electronic?
Someone was asking earlier. Jim Scasia from Roseville, California.
Congratulations, Jim. All right, just before we end, come over here real quick. I'll tell you this so that you won't think there's something wrong with your dovetail saw. So we've been working on this like fiends for the last year, and in the process of cutting these small dovetails. So that's Holly, It's less than a quarter of an inch thick. There's small dovetails, and it's really tedious, actually. My dovetail saw is designed to cut what I would call drawer dovetails, more this size. And it'll sail through that like you wouldn't believe if you haven't tried it. And I got saying to Jake, I said, you know what? I wish I had just a little smaller dovetail for this kind of work. So I have a really good friend. His name is John Robichaud. And John's dad that I knew quite well, Leonard, where is it, Jake? Leonard was from northern New Brunswick. When he enlisted in World War II, they brought him down to St. John. I can't imagine not being able to speak a word of English. And he fought right across Europe. He was injured numerous times, but he made it through. And this belonged to Leonard. And John had it. And he brought it up for me to sharpen, but he never came back. And I've had it ever since. And it's been sitting here behind me. And I always loved this. I thought, this is just the cutest little thing. And it fits so nicely in the hand. So I said, I got to make a small dovetail saw, and I'm going to pattern something like that. And when it's ready, on the back, it's going to be engraved his rank, Leonard Robichaud, WW2. It'll be
Or
the
Len.
Len. The what?
Will you put his full name or Len? Because he went by Len.
Yeah, he went by Len. So yeah, and it'll be the Len Robichaud saw. So anyway, this is what I've come up with so far. About the same size. So the characteristics of this saw are going to be 22 teeth per inch, negative 30-degree cutting face on the first, maybe inch and a quarter, and then the balance are going to be 22 TPI with a 0-degree cutting face. So there'll be smaller teeth in this. It'll be that size. Just the rake angle will change, so they'll be more aggressive. Depth of cut's going to be about an inch and a quarter. Brass back is going to be 3/4. Our normal saw is 7/8. The handle is, I may just work with the hang. The hang is the angle that when it's holding in your hand that the blade extends from. I may put my trademark finger recesses back in there because it really helps to lock it in your hand. And the more this becomes an extension of your hand, the better and more accurate you're going to be with it. But it's in the works. I had to stop and make a prototype because I wasn't getting any sleep at night because I just lay there all night thinking about running over my head how I was going to design it and make it. So that's the new saw that's sometimes in the works. Okay, listen, been really happy to have you here. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, you can have YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday. You can have the online every Saturday and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You just have to go on there, register for the free month, and at least for the next month, you're going to get 3 new episodes of the build on the standing desk. Plus, you can have access to all those other ones. You could stay up all night watching videos if you want. Hope you have a great week. Please help spread the word about the Purple Heart Project. Tell everyone you know so we can find those vets who need our help. Have a good week. We'll see you. Oh, thanks to Jake. Thanks to Rex. Thanks to Frick. Thanks to Megan. Thanks to Ken. Thanks to Luther. Thanks to Super Dave. Thanks to Loren. Oh, yeah, my daughter Loren's out in Calgary helping
Annika's
watching.
there, too,
And
so you
Annika's
better-
there. And my girls. They're now part of our team. So when you buy something and you get a phone call, if it's first-time buyer, you're going to hear from me. Second, third, fourth, 10th, 100th time buyer, you're going to hear from either Loren or Annika. Be nice to them, and they'll be nice to you.
Perhaps.
Perhaps, yes. Yeah, Annika can be a little sharp. Very to the point. Just like her mother. All right, we'll see you.